everybody, welcome back to Yoko and Frisky's Dimensional Rift. This is a monumentous event. We are going back in time to the Looney Tunes. It is a miracle. My brother from another mother here, MC Metro Card Frisky, introduce yourself, even though I introduced you.
What's up, y'all? My name is Frisky, and today we're bringing it back. We haven't done this in like a year, but Fanfiction Theater is rebooting in full effect. And since Space Jam 2 is finally coming out this Friday, we thought we'd visit the world of the Looney Tunes and see what kind of cringe we can unearth today.
Yes, the cringe is real, especially if you've ever been on DeviantArt and searched for Looney Tunes fan characters or Looney Tunes content. You'd be surprised at what pretentious things is out there. Yes.
Well, let's not pussyfoot around. Let's get started. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
Okay, let's see. Let's have you go first.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah. Spicy.
Alright. I try to pick short ones so we can get at least a few of them in there. Alright, so this one's called Long Time Secret Revealed. And it's about Bugs Bunny and Marvin the Martian. Once upon a time, there was a cartoony place called Toontown, and all of the citizens who lived there known as Looney Tunes. One day in a central park, I'm reading this exactly how it's written, Bugs Bunny was minding his own business while eating a carrot when suddenly a spaceship from Mars landed. From that spaceship, there was a Martian named Marvin who wanted to take Bugs back to Mars. Of course, the sneaky but clever rabbit tricked Marvin into thinking that he was going to take Bugs with him, only to be empty-handed and landing back on Earth. Because Marvin to not be so happy, causing him to lecture Bugs by saying, "Oh, that wasn't a big nice." He talks like that, right? You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed. He said. He was puffing his chest angrily in and out. Nervously and politely, Bugs told Marvin, "Sorry I made you feel that way, Doc. I think I should go now. Bye, Doc." Of course, Bugs went to his rabbit hole. Then Marvin went back to his ship saying in an unpleased tone, "That rabbit is so dumb." He did say that, but here's where all you readers realize that he may not be what he thinks to him, or he may not be a he when he thinks to him/herself in a female voice. But still, he is pretty cute for a dumb bunny. A few years passed. Bugs was dating Lola Bunny. They were going to get married, but then one day Lola cut off the wedding when she left a note to Bugs saying, "Bugs, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that we're cutting things off. I was two-timing you the whole time. I was dating another guy, and I'm marrying him instead. Goodbye, and good luck. Sincerely, Lola."
Oh my god. Wow.
Heartbroken and ashamed, Bugs Bunny thought to himself, "I can't believe it. I can't believe she would do that to me." Just then, a spaceship from Mars landed outside of Bugs' home, and Marvin came out of the ship. Marvin went up to Bugs and said, "Oh, goody, a rabbit to experiment on. Isn't that dandy?" Although Bugs would usually greet Marvin, along with Elmer Fudd, Daffy Duck, and Yosemite Sam, by saying, "What's up, Doc?" He was feeling down because of what Lola did, and all he can say is, "Oh, hi, Marvin." Marvin can tell that something was making Bugs feel down. Looking at the note saying that Lola kept two-timing incident a secret, and then ends up hurting Bugs by finally admitting that in her letter. Marvin, feeling a tight pinch in his stomach, felt sorry for Bugs when he found out that Lola lied to him. He himself realized that he was living a lie, because he is not actually a he. So Marvin said to Bugs, "You know, friend, I've been keeping a secret all to myself for a very long time, and I think I should let you know first that," pressing a button on the side of his helmet to turn off the voice disguiser. Now, all you readers hear is actual voice, which is more feminine, showing that
Oh my
he
lord.
is actually a she. When she finished her sentence saying, I'm actually a female, surprised to hear her actual voice, Bugs finally noticed how more feminine Marvin is when her torso is more feminine shaped since she pressed the button on the waist of her skirt, which disguised her body shape, which made her look like a guy. And last but not least, Marvin took off her helmet, revealing her long, wavy, ginger colored hair. Bugs Bunny never realized until now how beautiful this Martian vixen actually is.
Oh my gosh, help me. I need an adult.
Wow, I gotta say, Dockette, which caused Marvin to giggle a little, and Buzz thought that was cute. Then Bugs continued, You're beautiful, but please tell me honestly, why such a long time hiding your actual gender? Then Marvin, feeling a little bit guilty for the long secret she kept all to herself for such a long time, said to Bugs, I thought I would sound a little more scary and more conquering if I made everyone thought that I was a guy, but I guess I went a little too far with that because when I first met you, I was actually taking a liking to you. But I didn't want to make that fact look weird because you saw me as a guy. So I thought if I took you back to Mars, I would have the courage to tell you my actual gender and how I actually felt about you. But I guess I must have made you feel weird anyways when you escaped from my ship. And I wasn't really angry indeed. I was a bit frustrated. But I guess I did deserve that for living a lie for such a long time. My apologies, Marvin finished,
That's a lot.
feeling a little embarrassed for what she admitted to. Bugs, feeling sorry for Marvin, feeling a bit silly and realizing that he wasn't considerate about her feelings for him, told her, That's okay. I'm sorry too for that trick. That wasn't a bit nice. At least I can forgive you because your secret is more excusable because you wanted to sound more scary and more conquering. But I don't think I can ever forgive Lola. We were dating and we were going to get married, but she was dating another guy behind my back. I don't think she realized how much that hurt.
Dang. I don't know.
Then Bugs sighed with his head in the palm of his hand, almost wanting to cry. Marvin, feeling sorry for Bugs, felt her heartache, wanting to vaporize Lola for hurting Bugs like that. But she did keep control of the feeling since two wrongs can never make a right, as she felt a couple of tears leaving her eyes because of the sympathy she felt for Bugs. So Marvin placed a hand on Bugs' shoulder and she said to him, You deserve better. If not Lola, you'll find your actual true love someday, Bugs. She finished as she kissed Bugs on the cheek and started to walk away slowly. Then Bugs realized that Marvin is his true love all along. So he said, Wait, please, Marvin. So she paused and said, Please, call me Marvine. She reintroduced herself with the more feminine name.
I need to go home.
You are home.
Oh, that's even worse.
Feeling a whole lot better now, Bugs came up to Marvine, held her hands, and said, Marvine, what a lovely name for a lovely girl. Thank you, said Marvine, letting out a giggle. Happy to hear Marvine's cute giggle, Bugs said, Marvine Martian. I did always thought that you were a little scary at first, but now I know that you're actually a friendly, beautiful, huge-hearted girl, and I can never imagine life not meeting you. So what do you say? Will you be my girlfriend? Marvine, feeling happy and blushing after what Bugs said, told him, Yes. Bugs, feeling so happy once again and not worrying about Lola anymore, he pulled Marvine into a loving hug, feeling her breasts pressed firmly against his chest while she hugged back. Hers are probably real while Lola's were fake. And then...
Damn, we're going in on that.
I know, it was in parentheses. And then the new lucky couple looked into each other's eyes and shared a kiss. I love you, said Bugs. I love you too, said Marvine. So the new lucky couple were dating, and then one day, Bugs proposed to Marvine in marriage. She accepted his proposal. On the big day, Bugs was wearing a fancy tuxedo, looking all handsome. Marvine was wearing a fancy wedding gown and had her long ginger hair and a long braid, looking really beautiful. Once Bugs and Marvine said I do, they were pronounced as man and wife, and then they shared a kiss, and all of the Looney Tunes citizens
Rabbit and alien. Okay.
and
It's
all
okay.
all of the Looney Tunes citizens except Lola because she wasn't invited were happy for the new couple.
Yay.
Said "Aw."
Specifically.
And so time flies. Bugs and Marvine went on a honeymoon. They got a new house since Martians don't usually live in rabbit holes, but Bugs likes to live in a house. Pretty soon it was time for them to start a family. When Marvine had a bit of a swell in her tummy while she was pregnant with her and Bugs' child. Oh man. Finally Marvine gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She and Bugs felt really proud of their new daughter. She was a Martian with Marvine's hair color, and she had Bugs' eye color and his ears. And they named her Linda. Their daughter Linda grew up to be a lovely young Martianette, just like her mom. And so the happy family, including Bugs, Marvine, and Linda, lived happily ever after, all because of a little betrayal and a little bit of a living lie and a little bit of time to reveal their feelings to each other. The end. Hold for applause.
The alternate ending where male Marvin the Martian dates Twilight Sparkle. My Little Pony Princess Magic.
Oh man, that was a roller coaster of emotions.
That was Jim. The ball was almost fumbled, but it was caught on the side of the court.
It baffles me that someone woke up and they decided these two should be together. These are the couple. This is the couple that people want.
I was looking up to see if anybody did
Art.
in pictures. Yeah, because there are some girl Martians, but they didn't show up until Tiny Toons. Let's see.
Very cool.
Lady. Okay. No, you know what? I'm not even gonna type in Marvin Martian X.
Do it later.
We'll do that later. Okay. Next, we have the alternative ending. Earth Jam. All right. Earth Jam by Kristen Griswold. Don't put your full name, bro. Anyway, after the Monstars invaded Earth and started robbing NBA talent, life was truly hung in the balance. Here, we had an alien force stealing the worth and value of our idols, heroes, and celebrities. For America, and Earth entirely, it was a terrifying tragedy. As Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny stood on the sidelines, they watched the Monstars enthusiastically celebrate on their home court logo. The Toon Squad had been defeated. The Monstars romped and raved while bouncing and dancing like hooligans, utterly rubbing the victory in the Toon Squad's faces. Michael Jordan exclaimed sadly to Bugs, "We should not have lost. This is the victory. I've never lost a championship in my life. This was the championship for Earth." It's just Earth, but Bugs just shrugged. The Monstars started lining up. Then consisted of talent from the likes of Sean Bradley, Patrick Earwig, Charles Barkley, Muggsy Bogues, and Larry Johnson. Walked up to the Toon Squad and proudly claimed their victory. The Monstars had only one question for Michael. How do they get into the NBA? Michael regrettably informed the Monstars that they would only need to pass a health, physical, female. I swear, we would only need to pass a health, physical, female, and be of legal age to play in the league. Seeing as how the Monstars were each of legal age, that was not a problem. Oh my god. It's already boring. Lucy. The next NBA draft was announced. The Monstars entered the draft. The 5 Monstars were taken at the 5, first 5-star picks in a sweeping surprise, and there was nothing current NBA players could do to combat the talent size of the Monstars. They dominated every single game. Every single Monstar averaged triple, double, and the league was becoming an embarrassment. It was truly astounding that an outside alien world could potentially be so good at the sport and league that humans created. Everywhere in America, folks were terrified that this would be the end of sports and humanity as
Oh
they knew
no,
it.
the end of sports.
Oh, the NBA, what were we going to say?
No, it's just like, oh no, not sports.
I know, right? The NBA team that drafted Charles Barkley in Monstar version, I don't remember what that one was. Maybe it was the orange one. I don't know. The Seattle Supersonics ended up winning the NBA championship. Every year following that, the NBA was one of the Monstars. That was the case for the next 7 years, and humans were getting sick of it. Not only that, but since the Monstars' incredible success, planet Earth had become more and more dense with nerdlucks, the nationality of the Monstars, if you didn't know. The nerdlucks were truly disgusting individuals. Each of them were dirty, vile, indiscreet, rude, and generally horrible people to be around.
The Trump supporters?
Dang. Got out. At restaurants, the nerdlocks would disrespect and abuse waitresses, and would fail to trip every single. They would fail to trip every.
Tip.
Oh, you're right. Tip. My bad. My body just is not in whatever. Anyway, in bars, the nerdlocks would take up all of the room and be terribly gross. They would blow nauseating snot rockets on the ground. I had to make sure I read that right. Michael Jordan sat at home in Chicago and sometimes North Carolina, because that's what he would do, and watch the saddened nature of the human population on television. He couldn't help but feel that he was somehow responsible for the merciless actions that have taken place on Earth since the Monstars defeated his beloved Toon Squad. He vowed to himself and his family that he would rid Earth of the tenacious Monstars. I just imagine them being at Chili's and Hi, welcome to Chili's. You at my Chili's now, baby girl. You know, anyway, I'm skipping a paragraph. What are we doing here, Mike? Wait. Sorry, I missed something. He vowed that himself and his family, he would give her the Monstars. Following that, Jordan called the Toon Squad to a secret meeting inside of his house. What are we doing here, Mike? Daffy questioned. We're here in summation, because if humans are going to survive, we have to eliminate the Monstars.
You gotta do the Michael voice, man. That's the Michael voice.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We're here in summation, because if humans are going to survive, we have to eliminate the Monstars from participating in the NBA. That is their single strongest grasp on the planet. And we need to eliminate them from competing. It's spelled wrong. And more importantly, we need to eliminate them from this planet. The entire Toon Squad lined up to agree that this was necessary. Humans have dominated and controlled the Earth for years. It's only natural. At that moment, Michael Jordan came up with a plan so brilliant and lovable and lovably sacrificial that it would fall into history forever as the single greatest subtle military plan ever. Michael decided that his talent alone was greater than all the Monstars' talent combined.
Wow. Humble much.
The only reason I know. The only reason the Monstars had defeated him in the NBA Finals, following the Big Earth Championship game, was because human strength combined with Monstar strength was too great to defeat other teams. He needed the Toons. He needed his squad. Michael delegated that he and the best superstars in the league split their talent and allow the higher athletically tunes was the exception of Porky, of course, to accumulate and accept their talent. Meanwhile, the Monstars sat in the cold, dark basement, the optimal place for nerdlocks is both cold and dark, celebrating their dominance over the best league in the entire universe. It was at this moment the Monstars finally realized that they were the most supreme basketball players in the world. I'm gonna skip that. See who's big, blind. The Monstar version of Sean Bradley proudly, almost coincidentally announced. I am 7 feet, 60 inches tall. I'm always big. After Muggsy dealt the cards, the new reporter on the television announced, next on Channel 8, see how the Toon Squad is plotting to defeat the Monstars and send them back to their planet. Upon hearing this, Jen scrolls down further through just to complete this fanfic faster. Let's see. 1 week later, after the terms had been negotiated by Don King himself, the Toon Squad and Monstars met at the Center Court in Chicago. At the United Center. You get that? Did you get that?
I got that.
Awesome. They shook hands, and by shook, it's clear that the Monstars literally shook the Toon Squad's hands.
I guess shook and then scared. I don't know.
I guess. I have no idea. The Monstars' size and strength was entirely unmatched. When the team stepped onto the court, the Monstars had a very strong size advantage. They dominated the first quarter, obliterating the Toon Squad 31-8. It was a teeth-clenching display. The Monstars were dunking, shooting, and passing with incredible speed. Nobody on the Toon Squad could compete. Not even Bugs Bunny or Michael Jordan, the team's two best players. Fuck Lola, because she ain't even in this fic. In my language, I am sorry. It looked, at this point, that the Toon Squad and Earth were bound to be forever under the rule of the Monstars, athletically, physically, and personally. The second quarter wasn't much more promising, as the Monstars went into the half with 62-31 lead. Nonetheless, it seemed as if human life and the life of the Toon Squad was over as they knew it. As the Toon Squad sulked into the locker room, both Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan slammed their locks at the same time, appeared to be over. They would forever be dominated by these superstars. It was at that moment Porky had an idea. He saw his team dehydrated. He saw Bill Murray chugging water. He saw Michael Jordan taking a chug. He saw Bugs Bunny flirting with Lola.
There she is.
He was thirsty. Yo, stop.
They used her for a thirsty joke.
Oh, you're right. There she is. Let's see. Porky knew exactly what he needed to do. He grabbed a few bottles from the fridge, walked over to the water fountain, filled them up. Then he wrote Kobe's secret stuff. And then, on them, Michael having great force. Oh, God, I don't even know. Kobe was there, but couldn't play due to a broken finger. In the second half, Dude Squad came out aggressively. They were rebounding, scoring, passing on the championship Monster. Soon, they started to cut into the lead the Monstars had, and it was very quick. By the middle of the fourth quarter, they were finally following the Monstars by a mere 10 points. Unparalleled events were happening, and all of Earth was eagerly, terrifyingly, yet excitedly watching. The Toon Squad had worked their way to being a measly 2 points behind the Monstars, 118 to 116. It was a very intense game. 4 seconds left. Bill Murray sets a screen on the small Muggsy Bogus, who was guarding Bugs, and Bugs was suddenly free. 2 seconds left. Bugs fades to the corner as Michael simultaneously feeds him the basketball. Bugs Bunny has a second to look at the rim, and then he fires. 1 second left. The ball hangs in the air for what seemed like an eternity. It drives further into the air as this person pretty much copies the ending. Jam. And Bugs misfires. Bugs misfired. But he misfired perfectly. If ever a thing existed, the basketball bounced off the top left of the box and fell directly into the net. The
Woo!
noise filled the arena cannot be described. It was so true, so loud, so deafening, that everybody in the arena and everybody within a 50-mile radius could hear it with crystal clear quality. Michael, Bill, Bugs all raised their hands in a triumphant defense of their planet. They celebrated their home court on their logo with their fans, and the human race and human sports was saved. The end.
Woo!
Who is this?
What?
Following the best game that anybody had ever seen of basketball, the Toon Squad reached unprecedented fame. Bugs Bunny was subsequently endorsed by Nike with Michael Jordan, and Porky won the Coach Player of the Year. Earth was saved. Toon Squad won.
Was that a post-credit screen?
Yeah, it was. I swear.
Damn, you sound like you were struggling a little bit.
And my throat was like,
I feel like this one was written by someone who's never ever watched a basketball game before.
yes.
Because whenever he actually describes the game, he's very vague. He's like, Michael was dunking left and right. Bugs was passing like he never passed before. He did not want to give any details at all.
This was written in 2015.
Yeah. It probably should have stayed in 2015, to be honest.
Dang! You just send it back.
I know. I mean, we had to do a Space Jam one. That was the best one I could find. That wasn't too long, so whatever.
Yeah.
All right, this one. I have a lewd one, but I'll save that one for last. So everybody can listen to the whole podcast. Oh, well, I guess I could just skip it. Whatever. This one's called "The Dark Side of Daffy Duck."
Oh no!
This one's a couple of chapters. I'll read like 2 or 3. I was in my room, lost in my own about my past with Warner Brothers. I'm happy. Yeah, we're going there. We're going there. I'm happy now in my life with Bugs, but I was treated with such disrespect back. Always won our feuds with Elmer Fudd. He's always the one who saves me. He always gets what he... Is that a good thing? And to think I used to be the star. I used to be the hero. I used to have everything. I was like Bugs Bunny, if he was a duck. At this point, I was getting furious. I couldn't control myself. I was trying to think of what could calm me down without getting me hurt. I remembered that in the earliest shorts with Elmer Fudd used to paint outside, and along with Porky, they had bad anger issues. Bugs wasn't home, so I quietly snuck in his room to see if he had any paints. I pulled out the paintbrushes and paper and went back and thought what I could draw. I started sketching out an outline of me and painted it all in black. Painted the left side light green and the right side dark blue. But just as soon as I finished, I realized green would represent my light side and the blue would represent my dark side. The one I didn't have. I have so much repressed anger from my past I haven't shared with anyone. I started thinking about all the things that Bugs, Elmer, Porky, Speedy, and all my friends / coworkers have done to make me mad, and then before I could control it, I started splatting paint all over my picture, taking my anger out. I looked at it. I couldn't help but put my head in my pillow and bawl my eyes out. I started writing about what I just experienced in a journal. Tina got me for our 3-month anniversary. I saw an entry I made from a while back when I had a crush on Melissa. Then looked back at my picture of Tina. I don't know these characters. I'm guessing they're Looney Tunes.
It's from the Looney Tunes show, so don't worry. Tina's his girlfriend, his duck girlfriend, and the other girl he's talking about is Porky Pig's girlfriend.
Okay. I looked at my picture of Tina on my bedside, because could she ever fall in love with me? I'm just a poor, self-centered duck who can't provide for his own. Must be why Melissa never loved me, though I'm still in love with her. I wonder if she's over me. if she ever liked me back. I took the picture and grasped it in my arms and started crying. Heard someone come in my room and sit on my bed. Read the entry. Looked at the picture. Felt someone touch my shoulder. Don't worry, Daffy. It's gonna be okay. I suddenly stopped crying as I could recognize the voice right away. I couldn't find the strength to defend myself. He's never seen me like this before. He never knew I had a dark side. All I could reply in my soft, weak voice was, I'm sorry. That was the day I found the dark side of Daffy Duck.
Oh my lord. I am just so... I feel like that should be the fic, the end.
No, I want to read another. I want to read more.
Okay.
Chapter
No,
2.
I'm just saying in general. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was the first chapter. I fell asleep after that moment. When I woke, I found the note on my bed. It was from Bugs. Please come talk to me when you're awake. I'm worried about you. I walked down the stairs to find Bugs making coffee in our kitchen. I tiptoed down there hoping he wouldn't notice. He did anyways. Are you okay? Bugs asked. A concerned look on his face I haven't seen on a long time. Yes, I am. Haven't felt better, I replied. It was one of the many times I've lied to him in my life. I didn't want to talk about the events of yesterday because it hurt, and I just shrugged and drank coffee and laid there silent for about 5 minutes. He said something just as I walked out of the room. You still like her, don't you, Daffy? I felt sadness and rage come over me. I tried to hide my feelings for her as much as possible, but it's just no good anymore. He's my best friend. I have to try and tell him the truth. I read what you wrote. I'm really sorry, Bug said, looking down. Started to walk towards me. I didn't want you to see me like this, I replied, my back turned away from him in shame. I'm a terrible person, aren't I? I'm always jealous of you. I'm in love with my ex-girlfriend, and I have a sudden rage and dark side to everybody now. One tear suddenly fell down my cheek.
This is so true, though. The Looney Tunes show. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm digging this one. I'm in it. I started walking out of the kitchen. I felt Bugs touching my shoulder once again. You need to talk to her. You're not gonna feel better until you do. I felt a sudden chill go down my spine as I felt faints in my head. You mean you know where Melissa lives? I said, with some hope in those words. I kept in touch with her since she left Warner Brothers. Melissa liked you a little, Bugs said with the smirk on his face. Bugs, tell me about Lola. When did you realize you were in love with her? Bugs sat down with me on our couch. When I first saw her in Space Jam, she wasn't like my...
When I straight up thugging her on Space Jam, you know.
When I first saw her in Space Jam, she wasn't like my past girlfriends. She had everything. She was pretty, smart, athletic, and she cared about me for me. Not just because I'm incredibly handsome. Bugs laughed after he said that and gave him a warning look. But you were lucky enough she liked you back. Who could possibly love me? I asked, face palming myself into my lap. Daff. Everybody loves you. You have tons of fan clubs and fan girls. Probably more than me.
You're an asshole.
Bugs 10 pulled out my journal. I know you're in love with Melissa from what you wrote. April 17th, 2011. Today is my birthday. I think I got a million messages on Facebook saying, Happy birthday, my Looney Tunes friends.
Oh, my bad. Melissa, I'm sorry. I'm going to give you...
Give me some backstory. Go.
Yeah, Melissa is supposed to be like a yellow duck, but she's looks like Jessica Rabbit, and she turns into a monster, like a legitimate demon monster.
What?
And she was replaced with Tina. Melissa was in Quackbusters. It's a cartoon that no one has ever seen, but continue. I will send you a picture, and you're gonna be like, "Yo, she is Jessica Rabbit, but as a duck."
Interesting. Anyway, um, everybody wished me a happy birthday, except Melissa. I don't get it. I wished her a happy birthday when it was her birthday. I even bought her a diamond necklace. Bugs doesn't know I used his credit card for that, though. I love you, my dear Melissa. You're my princess and my dream come true. Daffy Duck. I still haven't paid that off yet, Bugs said with a smirk on his face. Anyways, I invited her to your birthday party, and she didn't respond. It's like Tina replacing her job took a toll on her more than I thought. I sighed. She might just miss her job, but she probably doesn't miss me. Well, now I'm going on a date with Lola. You can either come with me and I'll drop you off at Melissa's and you can walk home. Or you can stay here, have this dark side that you'll never get rid of, and be depressed for the rest of your life, never getting anyone inside this wall you built around yourself. Bugs, drop me off at Tina's instead. Maybe she can help me. I didn't know I could face her. At least not alone. I wish Bugs could come with me, but this was something I had to do alone. I could hear Bugs on the phone with Tina telling her about yesterday. I felt sort of embarrassed that she had to hear this. I'm supposed to be the strong one, the independent one that carries her weight on my shoulders, not the other way around. I had to be strong, something I haven't been in years.
I feel like we need to listen to some really bad like guitar music. You know, the kind of guitar music where the guy has no shirt.
Yeah, like Trevor Hall, Luke Bryan. Alright, I'm gonna read one more. I knocked on Tina's. She's going to dump me knowing I'm in love with Melissa. She made me confront her. My heart felt like it was going to stop as the handle turned on the door. Oh, Daffy, it's you. Come in, Tina said, letting me in. What's wrong with you anyways? Bugs said you had a mental breakdown. Maybe you should explain. Well, ever since yesterday, my past has seemed to haunt me. It's literally tearing me apart. And it all started when I realized I developed the dark side. I thought that would be the best way to explain it to her. Daffy, you don't just develop a dark side. Do you mean like a depressed side of you or an evil side of you? Tina asked me. I had to think about it for a while. A bit concerned, she looked serious. If I didn't say something soon, nothing would save this. Both, I think. I didn't want to tell her about Melissa, but I had a feeling she already knew. Bugs messaged something about Melissa, that girl that I replaced? Tina looked concerned. I can't get over Melissa. I don't understand either. I know it's not fair to you. Melissa was awful to me, and she wasn't a good girlfriend, but now I finally found someone who gets me. Tina had a blank expression on her face. So what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say you're the most beautiful duck I've ever seen. You're sweet, kind and caring, and the best girlfriend ever, me. And Melissa never had any closure. It was just, she got fired, goodbye, so to be a better girlfriend to you, I need Melissa completely out of my mind. Tina then smiled. I guess she meant to say boyfriend. Daffy, that's so sweet. So is that it? I then started talking to Tina about the rest of my past, about all the experience she thought about for a while before answering. That's just awful. But tell me, how do you feel you're treated now? I thought about it. Well, I've been treated with more respect since Back in Action. I mean, I got my own TV show. I'm like the star of the Looney Tunes show. That's the point. You're living in your own past. It's not good to think about your life now. You have friends that care about you. You're a licensed cosmetologist. Bugs doesn't even have a job, and you got me. If Melissa can't understand what a wonderful person you are, then she really doesn't deserve you. Wow. I never thought of it like that. Never realized how lucky I am now, I replied. I think about it every day, Tina said. I leaned in to hug her. We have never kissed before, and I think that's the way it's gonna stay until things get serious. So what do you want to do now? Bugs and Lola are on a date, and I'm supposed to walk home later. Tina thought for a while. I don't think you're cured yet. I honestly think we need to see Melissa and talk to her to get closure, but Melissa lives on the other side of Toontown, and it'll take us the whole day to get there. So the point of me visiting Tina was that I could forget about Melissa and not bring her up. I guess we're going on a road trip, aren't we? Smiled, grabbing her hand, walking her to the car. Alright, I'm gonna end that there.
Okay.
I just love how fucking dramatic it is.
I know, it's like, I love you. Sorry. Okay, now the final fanfic of the act. You get a swig, because this one's a doozy.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. This one is called The Love Bond, Chapter 1. Written by McZilla 201. Written in 2015. A wily coyote and female OC Roadrunner.
Hit me.
Woo! Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
The Love Bond. This first lemon of a Looney Tunes between Wile E. Coyote and a female roadrunner, but not one. Two of them. Okay, so don't judge and no flames. I don't know anything. Caught him. I finally caught. Okay, here we go. God, I don't even know. Okay, here we go. I caught him. I finally effing caught him, said a brown coyote in his thoughts. Hold a blue bird by the neck with his teeth. So many years, so many blinking years, he tried to catch him. So many schemes and traps, and all have failed. Now he has finally caught him. Now what to do with him? The bird didn't do nothing but stare at him. Coyote was two businesses thinking about what to do. The bird, that he felt a wet sensation on his cheek? What the hell was that? I felt, thought the coyote, another wet sensation. Serious, what is that? Now the coyote realized, I'm reading this word for word now. I'm reading slower just so I can read it. Now the coyote realized it is properly the road runner. I swear to you, it's P-R-O-P-E-R-L-Y.
I believe you.
He turns his head a little within hurting. He turns his head a little without hurting his soon-to-be dinner and gets a good look at the roadrunner and froze. The roadrunner, then the coyote, got a long look at the bird and freezes. Oh boy, here it comes. He immediately noticed two things as he looked back on his feathered captive. For one, he had 6-inch eyelashes. This startled him a little. In all the years he was chasing the bird, he never got a good long at it. Mostly because, by the time he did, he was looking at a dust cloud. Another thing Willie noticed.
Wiley, dude.
I love it. It's Willie. They just changed it. Noticed was that he, who he knew, now knew, was a sheep. Looking at him different. Her eyes were half-lidded, and her smile was more sultry. There were bits of fur on her tongue, an obvious clue that she was licking his neck. The coyote was shocked, to say the least. He felt his light blush start to spread across his face. This was a side of the roadrunner that he'd never seen before. Even more shocking was what happened next. Roadrunner kissed him. This wasn't a big deal. Kissing someone to escape was one of the oldest cartoon tricks in the book. Especially, it surprised and disguised the captor. It's disgusted. It surprised and disgusted its captor, causing them to let you go so they could gag. What made it a big deal was the fact that she didn't stop. Not until the poor coyote broke the kiss by letting go and pushing her away. A shocked Wiley started gasping for air, as if he almost drowned in a pool. As he saw his quarry escape over the horizon, leaving a dust cloud in her wake, he started coming to grips with what just happened. A bird that he's been chasing for decades, who, for a long time, for just as long, has assumed was male, but was really the opposite, had just kissed him on the mouth in broad daylight. The very thought of what happened to him caused him to wipe his mouth furiously in disgust. This was a whole new level of humiliation he's experiencing. Nobody, not even Bugs, has ever kissed him like that before, even if it was to escape. So why was he still blushing? If he was disgusted by the kiss, he shouldn't be blushing, period. Yet, he was, for what he seemed, no reason whatsoever. But why? Wiley quickly shook the cobwebs out of his head and got serious for a moment. Kiss or no, his meal ticket got away. He pushed all thoughts on the previous subject out to make a room for a plan to get the Roadrunner back in his hands, hopefully in a more permanent manner. That was chapter 1.
Yeah.
Love Bond. There's chapter 2. Let's see. Let me just get some. Let's see. So later that day, it says later on that day, some of a bitch, she got away. She says some.
Some of a bitch.
Yeah. The coyote was on the mountain looking around the area for the female. Why the heck she kissed me on the mouth? Was that on purpose? He gave up and laid down with his belly. He was interrupted mid-thought again. Wow, this is exhausting. This time by something scratching the back of his neck, his mind raced, wondering who or what would have the gumption to scratch him there in the first place. Had he looked over his shoulder, he would have seen the Roadrunner standing behind him, lightly scratching his neck with her talons, with a broad, loving smile. He started to pant hard under her gentle touch, trying in vain to hold back the urges he was feeling. With every stroke, he blushed a little more, his ears lowered in submission. He unconsciously bowed his head, exposing more of his neck for her talons to play with.
Ooh.
Yes. He somehow managed to retain enough control to let go of the rifle and push it aside. He then grabbed the ground and tried to get up, but his legs felt like jelly. Wiley knew he was fighting a losing battle. Poor Coyote moaned in defeat as he reluctantly succumbed to her tendencies. Her smile was sultry, and the Roadrunner moved her talon down his neck and then drew silly shapes on his back. She gingerly stroked his side in an attempt to coax him onto his back. Try as he might, he couldn't resist the temptation. His mind told his body no, but his body wouldn't listen. Slowly he obeyed his master and flopped onto his back, while he lifted his head to finally see the Roadrunner standing over him, leisurely rubbing his chest fur. Oh god, here we go. His face was as red as a sunburned tomato. He was beginning to sweat buckets. This was the perfect opportunity to lurch up and grab the bird by the neck, but he didn't take it. He couldn't bring himself to harm a feather on her, much less move. She had him right where she wanted him, and She was loving every second of it. The Roadrunner teased him some more, drawing an invisible line down his belly. She started massaging it, ironically, as the torturous pace. Wiley, his eyes closed, let out a meek puppy-like whine. With every rub, his will was starting to break. Okay, then something. Oh, sorry. Then nothing. She just stopped. He opened his bloodshot eyes again to see that the bird fled the sea. More frustrated and humiliated than before, he cursed himself. I can't believe it. That stupid bird did it to me again. Only it was way more personal. He picked himself up and dusted himself off, not knowing that the stupid bird he was talking about had snuck up behind him. Beep beep. He was beyond perturbed. He quickly jumped onto the road and was about to run off behind her when he began to notice a pattern. He'll try to get her. She'll get him somehow. She'll get him somehow, and teased him senseless. He'll get mad afterwards, and the cycle will begin again. Wait a minute. He looked down at the road. He was a bit confused. That's exactly what she wanted me to do. He then decided to do something he never thought he'd dream of doing this quickly. Not in a million years. He called it a day. The end.
Wow. That's a really long way to just say, like, the coyote got blue balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you hated that one.
Oh, it's like, oh, we're good. No.
No.
It's fine.
Yeah, my favorite line was, weak moaning howls escaped the helpless coyote's lips.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
It's so...
Alright. We got one more for you. This is the last one. And, hey, maybe we'll get some spicy stuff in this one.
Spicy.
Alright, this one is called Lola's Job at the Club.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's for all my Lola Bunny fans. The air was cool, and the night sky had many stars shining brightly in Looney Tune Land. The only other source of light came from the neon lights on the sign outside of Club Wild Barn. Pepe, Le Pew, Wiley, Coyote, and Sylvester were here to spend the night drinking after finishing a bunch of cartoons. Being famous cartoon characters was a very hard business, but since new rules and guidelines had been issued, because of COVID, their fame had moved to a lower class of viewers. I can't stand this new rule about not being able to use guns in cartoons, Wiley said, complaining like a spoiled brat. His two friends could only nod in silence as he went on with his rant. We can't use explosives, can't smoke, drink, and can't cross-dress anymore. The parent group ruins everything for us. So true, Pepe said with a sad shrug. But he smiled and added, at least I won't be chasing after men who donned a female skunk look. Oh, try and F me like you did at the end of Dog Pounded? Sylvester snapped at Pepe. Pepe frowned at his friend's manners. It was what we were paid to do, he replied, then opened the doors to the club. The three Looney Tunes looked around for a table or a booth that could seat them all. Everything was reserved or already taken. But then the most famous Looney Tune walked in and stood next to Pepe and his friends. Wiley's jaw dropped when he saw who was standing next to them. You are, he began. The one and only, Pepe gasped, taking a step back to give the star much needed space. Sylvester almost couldn't say his name, but he managed to say it. Bugs Bunny! Bugs Bunny looked at the three starstruck actors. That I am, he said, munching on a carrot. His whisker twitched as he turned to Mark Anthony, the bulldog, who was clearly the owner of the club. A table of 4, if you please, Mark, he said, putting his carrot away. Mark Anthony smiled and led the 4 stars to a private table. As soon as they sat down, Daffy Duck, another star of the Looney Tunes, walked onto the stage and began to dance. When his dance was over, the room was quieter than a graveyard. The duck tried to do some tricks to impress the crowd, but still nothing. Then he tried telling some jokes, but that only got him one thing. A face full of bird shot from Elmer Fudd. Well, getting shot brought the crowd some cheer as they applauded the hunter. Daffy blew his top and stormed off the stage. Once he was gone, the lights in the room dimmed, and a really lovely cougar stepped onto the stage. "Looking good, Miss Cougar," Wiley whistled to the very pretty lady as she slowly began to peel off her clothes to reveal a very sexy looking bra and panties. Backstage, Lola Bunny was so nervous. Tonight was the first time she would strip in front of a crowd of people. All men, of course. She would be on a stage in Mark Anthony's nightclub, and they would all be looking up at her, watching her, wanting her to be naked, wanting to see her breasts and ass cheeks and everything. She felt embarrassed at what had happened at her audition with Mark Anthony. She didn't want to admit that she had enjoyed it, that it excited her. She was finally naked. Mark Anthony had done something, had exploded over her, and she had touched herself for him and talked so dirty. She blushed as she thought about it, remembering how she looked with Mark Anthony's sports juice covering her firm breasts and pretty face.
Whoa!
What should I wear, she wondered, picking several pairs of skimpy panties out from her lingerie drawer and laying them carefully onto the bed. There was a pretty pair of pink panties, soft see-through fabric with little cherry pink bows at the side and a pretty pattern, a tiny rose at the front. Her father had bought them for his wife when Lola was still in preschool.
Gross.
Why they mentioned that, I don't know. Lola picked them up and stepped into them, delicately putting them up, lifting the front of the panties over her smooth, shaven rabbit mound, and then pulling the back of the panties over her round, young ass cheeks, lifting the ribbon sides up her waist and adjusting the other side of the panties so that the fabric fitted snugly and tightly over her rabbit lips. "Ooh, they're so tight," she gasped, looking at herself in the bedroom mirror. They were so tight that they seemed as if they might burst. She had almost grown out of them. There was nothing much more than a tiny pink V that barely covered her rabbit mound, and her carrot lips were quite visible through the flimsy see-through fabric.
I'm so confused. Alright, just continue.
Lola sighed and flicked through the summer dresses in her wardrobe. She picked out a pretty white dress with little red love hearts and stepped into it, pulling it up over her panties and lifting the lace up over her bare breasts. She slit the thin straps over her shoulders and smoothed the skirt down, admiring herself in the mirror. The hem of the dress almost reached down to her knees. No one would know that underneath, her panties were almost bursting from her body. She slipped on a pair of strappy 1-inch heels and stood by the mirror, doing her makeup, fixing her hair, brushing it carefully and then pulling it back and tying a pink ribbon around a cute little ponytail. She was ready. She headed for the stage. As Lola reached the stage, Miss Cougar was already leaving, smiling. Miss Cougar, you have something sticking out of your panties," Lola smiled, pointing at what looked like $100 bill. The lovely MILF Cougar looked down toward where the young bunny pointed. Sure enough, there was a perfect $100 bill given to her by one of the men. "Nice tip," she said, then ran off to her dressing room. Before Lola walked out, she feared that her dress would get ruined by the crowd, so she removed it. Then Lola walked onto the stage. The lights were dim, except for a small spotlight. There was a chair on the stage, nothing else. Lola stepped forward, looking around her. She could see the tables, men, sitting down, drinking, looking up at her. "Hey, sexy," one guy shouted. Lola looked down at herself. She was almost naked. Her bare breast quivered as she wished her nipples weren't so erect and pink and horny.
Wow.
I was about to say, are you still with me?
I'm here. I'm just like, alright.
Alright.
Are you still with me?
The front of her panties had slipped down over her rabbit mound, which was fully exposed to view. Some soft music began to play. "I'm Lola Bunny," she said after a moment. remembering her boss's instructions. I'm 22. This is my first time here. The first time I stripped like this. She found herself gently swaying to the rhythm of the music. Men were looking up at her, sitting back in their seats. But there was one who was taking a very good interest in her. Bugs Bunny. The rich actor watched her with hearts in his eyes. Never in his life had he seen any girl quite Lola. To him, she was an angel sent to him. Lola began to feel really scared for the first time in her life. I hope you like me, she said, her voice trembling. She lifted her hands up to her breast, cupping the luscious globes and gently squeezing them. She remembered her audition again. Mark Anthony had told her to dirty talk to the audience, to tell them how much she wanted to show herself off to them. I want to strip for you, she said dreamily. Her hand slipped down over her tummy. She ran her fingers over the tiny V at the front of her panties. I want to take my panties off for you. My panties. My
Are you whispering?
pretty little pink panties. Yeah! Get the fucking panties off, someone cried.
Oh my gosh.
Lola slipped her fingers underneath the pretty pink bows at the side of her panties as she swayed to the music. She began to pull them down. My panties, she said as she lifted the fabric away from her rabbit hole. My panties. My hot, wet panties. Does that bother you?
No. Weird.
The men started going crazy for her. Bugs stayed silent. His signs did not go unnoticed by Lola. The lovely bunny couldn't understand his behavior. Bugs Bunny wasn't acting like the rest of the men, but acting like a gentleman. Lola found her fear fading, and she went on with her job. Oh, my panties, she said, tugging at them and pulling them down over her knees. Oh my god. Oh.
I feel like that's what's being described.
She keeps saying my panties. It's making me crack up. Oh, I want to get my panties off so bad for you. It was clear that she was talking only to Bugs Bunny. So once Lola had fully removed her panties, she drew them to Bugs, who winked at her with a smile. When Lola decided to please the crowd even more, she picked up a bottle of massage oil and poured it a little on her breasts. The oil made her sparkle into the lights, and Lola then dropped to her knees and began oiling her legs. That's when Bugs couldn't control himself anymore. The legendary actor jumped on the stage, grabbed Lola by the ears. The sexy bunny trying to scream, but Bugs placed his hand over her mouth, silencing her. Lola
You're on stage.
on stage. Lola couldn't believe it. She was going to be taking on stage, but it was, in fact, exactly opposite. Instead, Wiley walked up beside the two bunnies, pulled out his wallet, and whispered in her ear, "Meet us in the VIP room. It's not safe for you here. Too many horny men are looking like they're planning something." The coyote warned her. Lola now knew that Bugs, Bunny, and Wiley didn't want her to be hurt, so she took them up on the offer. Once she reached the VIP, she saw Pepe, Sylvester, Wiley, and Bugs waiting for her. The four tunes looked at her naked body and smiled. Lola smiled back. So, who gets to fuck me first? The end.
Oh my lord.
And that was Fanfiction Theater. I hope you had a good time.
I had a wonderful time. Things happened. Not sure what happened, but definitely bad grammar, me butchering the reading, but it was overall a good time.
Yeah, if you didn't like your stories, come on time next time and you can pick your own stories.
That's fine. This is fine.
Alright. Alright, I'm off to see Black Widow, and
Alright.
Yoko's gonna make a special appearance next week in this dimension, and we're gonna talk about Space Jam 2.
And I'll have some fan art ready. Bick.
Right. Have a good one, y'all.